Senator LeMieux, you had just recently voted for the food safety bill. You've gotten a lot of criticism as well as the other senators who voted for it. Pundits like Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck have railed against it and think it's a big expansion of government. And with the sentiment around the country is like, less government, lower taxes, and it seems like it will raise taxes. Can you speak to that?
Well, it won't raise taxes. This is food safety. It's something that the federal government does now, but the federal government doesn't do a very good job of it. We just had this epidemic that came out with the eggs from Iowa that was causing a lot of sickness. We haven't revamped food safety in this country in 70 years. Now, I voted initially for the Republican bill from Senator Coburn, which would have done it in a less expensive way and would not have expanded the size of government. But unfortunately, the Democrats opposed that bill and it didn't pass. So what I had to do on balance was figure out whether or not this was worth doing to promote safety of our food, even though it was going to be a new program, or at least revamping a program that we already have. And on balance, although I didn't like some parts of it, I thought it was the right thing to do. I'm a dad. I've got 4 small kids at home. I think one of the federal government's few responsibilities is food safety. I mean, after defense, after protecting our borders, after transportation, food safety is something that has to be done in interstate commerce. And I want the federal government to do it well.
Now, also, what they're saying is that it's unconstitutional that most bills that they say raise tax have to be initiated through the House of Representatives.
I don't believe it raises taxes. I wouldn't have voted for it if it does. What it does do is that if you are a facility that has been inspected and you fail your inspection, then you have to be re-inspected. And the cost of the re-inspection is borne by the offending facility. I don't see that as a tax. I see that as a fine. Now, whether or not that has to be redone and started in the House of Representatives and sent back to the Senate, they'll figure that out. But it doesn't raise taxes.
Now, Can
I say one more thing?
Yes.
It also, too, it exempts small farms. So if a farmer is bringing his goods to a local bake sale, a local farmer's market, it exempts that so that those folks can be able to have their family farm, and we're not going to have big government breathing down the folks of regular family farmers who are selling their goods, so many miles away from their farm. What this deals with is the giant agriculture, agribusiness organizations. I want that food to be safe for our kids and our families.
Now, again, you've been the target of a lot of these DREAM Act proponent groups. You're supporting the DREAM Act. They're thinking you're squishy on it, which I don't believe. So you voted against the DREAM Act when it was hidden within the last defense appropriation bill. It's going to come up to vote again. They're threatening that. Would you vote against it again?
The way it's currently postured, I will. What I've said on this, I've been consistent all along. I am sympathetic to these kids who were brought here through no fault of their own. Their parents brought them here illegally. These kids don't know any different. They grew up here in our communities. They feel as if they're American, and then they find out they can't get a job or they can't go to the school because they're not here legally. I'm sympathetic to that. But at the same time, we have to secure our borders. I recently went to Arizona and visited the border, saw what's working and what's not. If we would do border security first and keep the illegal immigrants out, and we've found ways to do that. In places in Arizona, we've stopped illegal immigration by 95% in the past 3 years. If we could do that all across the border, then we could do something about the DREAM Act. If we had border security, we could make sure that these kids who were brought here illegally had some way to stay here, but we can't do that until we know we've secured our borders.
Now, finally, the million-dollar question. Everyone's assuming that you're going to run for office. You're seek the next Senate seat, which is up in 2012, and run against Senator Bill Nelson. Any developments with that? I mean, there's been a lot of hyperbole out there as far as other candidates like Mike Herodopoulos, Vern Buchanan, that may run, and they've kind of signaled that. You've given a couple signals out there, but is there anything you want to add or speak to that?
Well, I'm not going to make any announcements today, although I would love to do it with the shark. But I'm very concerned about the future of this country. I'm going to give my final speech to the Senate this coming Tuesday about 12:30. And I'm going to talk about what concerns me about the future of the country. We have big challenges ahead of us. We're going to need people who have the courage of their convictions to do what's right. But no announcements right now, but stay tuned.
Right. Thank you very much, Senator LeMieux.
Thank you.